Hello, everyone. Hello. This is Captain Soban. Welcome aboard to Starship and Normal Prize for another episode of Merlopatia. That's not actually what we're doing. We're playing SimCity 3000, and our town is named Merlopatia. That's not the name of the actual game. So, I do kind of want to apologize by only having one video on this channel this week. Work has been brutal, and I just haven't had the energy to get more videos going. So I slipped a little bit last week, but hopefully I can come back and keep the 2 videos on this channel and 3 videos on the main channel going. Because apparently a lot of you guys really enjoyed this series and the previous series, or the MMORPG series. So... was not expecting that. Was not expecting that at all. Anyways, Merlopatia is 2,000 population. Let's go ahead and go through all of our stuff that we will normally go through. So let's check our power plant. We have 492 megawatts out of 8,500. Still doing very, very good. Hopefully today we can get our city up to about 5,000 population. That would be nice. We're using 1,000 meters cubed of water out of 7,500. Still looking pretty darn good. So fantastic. And garbage is still like 1%. So everything's looking good. Let's check our budget real quick. We are using $89 for our roads. And this game is modded, just in case anyone's curious. This would normally be like 24 or something if this wasn't modded. But roads always just didn't feel like they required enough money to be used, if that makes any sense. Because the mod I've designed is making the game a little bit harder, but at the same time there's still like other elements that have been like more fleshed out of SimCity 3000 compared to the vanilla version. So like neighborhood deals have been fleshed out, power plants have been adjusted to be a little bit more what I think they should be. Like for instance, oil power plants have been buffed to produce more power just to make them different from coal power plants, because they used to only be like 1,000 differences, and I always thought the oil power plant needed to be more. And like pollution levels have been adjusted. So yeah, there's a lot of things that have been adjusted in the game. Anyways, in the last episode, we were expanding our residential area, which right now it looks like we have a large industrial demand. How is our unemployment doing? We're at 3%. Okay. We want to try to keep this below 5%. That's usually my goal when I play SimCity 3000. I have also adjusted the demand for industrial and whatnot. So demand for industrial is like 70% of the workforce, where it used to be 50%, and it slowly converts over to commercial, where when the city gets really, really big, like over 1 million, like 70% of the workforce demand would be commercial, where I think I have it like minimum of 20% for industrial. That way, as the city grows, you still have industrial demand. It's not being completely converted over to commercial like it normally is later in the game when you play traditional SimCity 3000. Anyways, there's not much going on right now. When is our commercial? We're 216. So pretty soon we can start expanding commercial. Because again, about 10% is where it's supposed to be of the main residential demand. How much is our workforce? Because we wanted to do the actual calculation. 67% of our population is workforce. So if I quickly grab a calculator, which you guys won't be able to see because it's on a different monitor, because I'm playing this game in a VM, because it doesn't work on normal computers. It would be, let's see, 67 times 0.7. That would be 46%, 46.9%, which if we go to our industry, we are at 912 of 2,000. So if we do that, we go 2,070, divide that by, I think it was like 916 or something? 912? I did that backwards. 912 divided by 2070. That's 44%. So we're on target where we're supposed to be based off of our workforce. So perfect. We did get a little bit of an expansion over here, so let's go ahead and make sure we make everything historical. If you guys are wondering why I do this, making the house or the zone historical means that it will no longer be demolished. So like if I do this, you notice that it says $0 for the demolishing. This is how the game rebuilds the zones over time. And so by doing that, you won't need to do it anymore. Sorry about that. We had an interruption while I was recording. My dad was calling me over because we had some fresh cantaloupe that was cut from the garden. He wanted to know if I wanted to try it, which of course I'm going to try. Always try a little bit of cantaloupe. So yeah, well, I guess I have something to snack on while we're doing this recording. Or doing this video, I should say. I'm recording, you guys are watching. Alright, so we basically have everything zoned except for this area here. So let's go ahead and resume. And there we go. Let's go ahead and mark it all for development. Or mark it all for historical. And there we go. I should probably make sure it's all watered still too. Okay, it is. Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, let's just let the month go by and see what our new residential level is once all this gets done, and then we'll probably have to expand industry. Oh. Boop. Here we go. There we go. But yeah, I've been playing SimCity 3000 on and off since I was like 5 years old. It is definitely the first game that's introduced me to this type of gameplay, and it's always been like on my mind. It's always one of those games I just go back to whenever I want to, whenever I want to play this type. Also, I like how we still have the underground noises going off. Sometimes if you switch back and forth between underground and overground very quickly, it gets a little bit confused on what audio track it should play. It's fine. Everything's fine. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Alright, so we went up 300 population. We're at 2,392, and we basically don't have a residential demand anymore. Okay. So that tells me that we need jobs. Yeah, we're on unemployment level 9. Now, the higher the unemployment you have, the more crime will happen in the city. Because they don't know what to do and they need money, so they start turning to a life of crime. Right now our city is very, very small. We don't really have to worry too much about this. This doesn't affect us that much. It's more or less just affects our industrial and commercial demand. But so we need to expand industry. That's our next task. So let's expand industry over here. And this might be a decent amount. Let's see, this is 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's stick with 5. Sorry for the little hiccups. I may be probably turning the music off in-game and just playing it through YouTube. Because it is playing off of my CD-ROM that I currently have in my computer, and it's an old CD, so sometimes it gets a little scratchy when it's playing the music. But if I have the music off, the game runs perfectly fine. One of those fun things about old games. Anyways, let's go ahead and zone all that out. Make sure it has water, which it does. Yeah, we might as well do that. There we go. We don't need to do that because all of it is covered, but we might as well prepare for the future. Oh, how are we doing budget-wise? We're projected to make 257 at the end of the year and have an estimated cash flow of 165. We're currently at 93. Not bad. This is looking really, really good so far. So we got that expanded, so we have more industry next turn, or next month. Just how I play this is technically a turn. Now let's do a little bit of calculations for the commercial real quick. I believe, let's see, it's set to 10%, and we have 67% of the workforce, which means we only need 6.7. So if I grab my calculator, that would be, what was 6.7 of 2,392 be? I don't want divide. 2,392. I want multiplication. 160 or 216. So we still don't really need commercial yet. We're still good. We just really need industrial. Okay. Another good way to look at it is if you go to budget and go to income and see if commercial is 10% of residential, where industrial is supposed to be about 50% of residential. Which I think for my adjustments, this is supposed to be like near or equal to residential. So residential isn't like the dominating tax that you have to worry about anymore. Okay. Let's go ahead and do our rounds real quick with 512 on our power plant. And for our, we're at 1,017 for pumping stations. And garbage, we're still 1%. I don't have to worry about garbage for like a very long time. Alright, let's go ahead and resume. We should only have to worry about this area here, because the rest of the area doesn't have power because we just expanded. So this should be an easy month to have to manage. Do 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 do. This cantaloupe is really good. Freshly grown cantaloupe from the garden. Sorry, Aura dips lower and City Soul could use the lift. Yeah, one of these days we'll have parks and everything, but it's not really mandatory this early in the game. Farmers and Myrtilopia. Some sins yearn for a peaceful country life. We're not going to be making farms. We're going to stick with just normal industrial. But because our city is really small, we could actually make farms. We don't need them this early, though. We only gonna have these two for the first month? Okay, we might have a negative residential demand to have to worry about, because I'm pretty sure residential areas, well, it's basically expanded. Just one spot there that hasn't actually been taken. There we go. Boo, 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 boo. There we go. Alright, we are now at top of the month. Our population did grow a little bit more, 2,461, and we still have a residential demand, but it is very, very tiny. What's our unemployment? 14%? Okay, yeah. We need a lot more industry. But hopefully this will solve that problem. Budget-wise, still went up a little bit, it looks like. Very tiny bit, I think. But we are basically, at the end of the year, we are basically going to be like a little bit over $100 we're going to get, which isn't much, but hey, it is something. And we're going to keep our taxes about around 7, because again, with the mod, I've changed some of the expenditures to make it a little bit more difficult. So having taxes at a higher level would probably compensate for that. And I am also going to eventually make it to where the amount of taxes that we put out won't affect residential, commercial, industrial so much. Because once you get up to like 8 or 9, the amount of demand it diminishes on all this gets quite ridiculous. Now, to be fair, like 90% residential taxes is a lot, but compared to like modern taxes, that's like the dream. Because modern taxes are very, very high compared to like taxes in this game. Like they'll freak out if we get closer to like 9 or 10%, but in real life, people would be thrilled to only pay 10% on their taxes. So I do want to go into the mod thing and try to actually adjust that to make it a little bit more realistic. And then make it to where like if you set taxes to like 15 or 20%, that would be like a medium difficulty. If you set to like 5 or 10%, that'd be a hard difficulty. Set to 30, 35, that'd be an easy difficulty. I want to play around with that more, but that's going to require some tweaking and require some messing around in order to figure all that out. Anyways, there's not much we really have to do. We could do some checking. We got 528 on our power demand. What are we doing on water? 1035. Residentials don't require a whole lot of water. I've had adjusted that. Industry requires a lot of power and water. Where commercial is kind of like in between, and residential is like very little. So residentials, once they upgrade to like medium and dense, or medium and rich, they require more water than the single ones. All right. Let's get this industry area developed. My goal, hopefully by the end of this episode, is get our population up to 5,000, which we're already making pretty good progress. But we gotta get more jobs if we're gonna attract more people to the city. Alright, is that all of them? Nope, we missed one. And it was you. There we go. That run a little bit more. Oh god, a little bit of lag. That lag could also be from the main computer too. Let me go ahead and turn off some things that are running in my background to give a little bit more resources to the BM. Boo, boo, boo. There was one in here. That was you. There we go. We got like 4 areas left. And we need it to develop. There's more smogomatics, or smokomatics as I used to call them. I think that's what these things are called. Yeah, smogomatics. Their only purpose in life is to produce smog, which sounds like the life of every industrial building ever. Not to improve the industry, not to provide products for retail, just to produce smog. Alright, we are in the last month of our first year. We are 2,484 population. Again, we went up just slightly because the rest of this area got developed, but we are kind of waiting on growing our industry more so we can attract more residentials. And so we probably need 1 more month to go by to get this area a lot more developed. And this would definitely help improve our residential demand. We are still unemployment 14. I don't think this actually updates until the next month, because we definitely grew on industry jobs available. Because I think we're over 1,000 now. We're like 1,026. Which is nice. And again, we are still doing pretty darn good. I'm really curious to see what these numbers are when we actually finish the year off. because then we'll get a more accurate representation of what's going on with our expenses. I have a feeling it's a lot more than it looks. But yeah, let's check our power because industry does require a lot of power to run. We're 588, still like nowhere near the amount of power capacity we have, and we're about 1,100 in water. Still looking very, very good. And garbage is still 1%. So yeah, everything is looking good. And I don't really want to expand. I don't think we really have any room to expand yet. Next, once we get some industrial jobs, we might expand commercial. Again, we really don't need to. There's not really a commercial demand right now. So we might continue focusing on growing industry. But yeah, let's go ahead and just let this go by. We're waiting for these 3 areas to develop. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. We can get 1 more here. Come on. There we go. There's number 3. Okay. Now we just have to wait for the rest of the month to go by. Boop-a-doop-boop. And there we go. We are through our first year. Fantastic. We now pay $120 on our roads. That isn't too bad. That's a decent amount of money that we have to pay maintenance for our roads. But income is looking fantastic. We're 252 on residential, which we have a decent residential demand since the industry has been expanding. We're 24 on commercial, so yeah, we can definitely start expanding commercial. That's about 10% of our residential. And we're about 204 in industry, which is supposed to be close to commercial or residential because of my mod. So it's looking good. It's looking very good. Looking good in the neighborhood. And we have estimated cash flow of 360. Now again, we could put a school down, but in my mod, schools are more expensive. They require $40 per month instead of $30. So that would be $480 we would need per year. The reason why I did this is because I also increased the capacity of students that the schools can hold, so they can go up to about 18,000 population per school instead of like 13,000. And this is just to make it to where you don't have like 1,000 schools in your city when the city is like gigantic. So it'll definitely help reduce that. In colleges and whatnot, I've changed as well, which again, I'll get into that when we actually start making those. So fantastic. We now need more residential. So let's go ahead and expand right here. We have 1,300 to level off this area. Good googly moogly. Guess we could also do it this way too. Yeah. So that was a big chunk of the budget. Here we go. Then we're going to go ahead and expand this here, because once we expand our residential, we're definitely going to need the commercial demand. Let's expand that. Expand that. Then we need some water. Burp, burp, burp. So let's expand that to there. And follow the water lines. Whoop. Didn't mean to hit that button. So that was a big chunk of our money that went down the drain. So we're still 18,000. Still looking pretty darn good. We still don't need to do loans anytime soon, but we will definitely be doing loans in this playthrough. That is a 100% given. Okay, so we have our residential, we have our commercial. Should we go ahead and expand industry as well? Because we're gonna need the industry demand as residential grows. This will easily be about 1,000 population. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and prepare. This is gonna be a massive expansion for this month. Boop, boop, boop. In industry, Alright, how much are we paying on roads now with all that expansion? 144 now instead of 120? Nice. Roads really wasn't that much, actually. It was like that, and then this over here. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue. Now, a good majority of the residential and industry should develop this early. But we probably won't get a good majority of it until the next month. But we will see. We will see indeed. Oh god! I'm doing that. I'm just eating a cantaloupe. Oh, there we go. Boom, ba, 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 boom, boom, boom. Ba, boom, ba, 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 boom, boom, boom. Oop. Some of those going. All right. Yep, there's more industry developing. Now when we get to the point where we start building medium and dense industry, or medium and dense buildings, I did adjust the game to where when it realizes it needs to update or upgrade, it does it more frequently, instead of just taking absolutely forever for it to realize it. So always develop like low residential first, and then it'll develop, or low density first, and then it'll develop medium or dense, depending on if the conditions are right or not. But the check for that is much faster, so developing into bigger buildings shouldn't take near as long. Burr, 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 burr. Which is fantastic. Here we go. Meow, meow, meow. Go. Oh god! More development. Okay, thing looks good. Boo. Oh god, how are we doing over here? Looking good. And looking good. Oh, crap, crap, crap. Sped up too fast. Went to 3 instead of 2. Okay. Alright, so we are at 2,599 population now. And as you can see, industry has continued to expand. We have a very high demand for residential now. Fantastic. And residential should hopefully develop a good chunk of this area. But let's check everything real quick. We're at 372 for the amount of cash flow we're having at the end of this year now, which is great. It is fantastic to see. Data, yeah, unemployment is down to like 3% because of our industry, which is fantastic. If you guys want me to like broadcast my calculator, so you guys can see like all the stuff I'm typing in to figure out the formulas right now and whatnot, please let me know. I will be more than happy to have that in like at the bottom right of the screen. In fact, I might actually do that real quick. One moment. And just let me know if you guys want me to keep this. There we go. Now you guys can see what I'm doing. Alright, so to figure this out, we need to figure out how much industry we need for our current population. We have 2,900, or 2,999, 2,599, oh my god. Actually, before we do that, we need to see if the workforce has changed, which it has. It's gone down to 66%. So, that would be 70 times 66%. That'd be 46.2. And that'd be 2,599 times 46.2. I did that wrong. 2,599 times 0.46.2. We have 1,200 industry we currently need. And we have 1,444. That explains why we have a low unemployment. And then for commercial, this would be 2,599 times 0.066. 171. So we still actually have too much commercial. Cool. So yeah, our demand right now is residential. Oh cool, and I minimize that, it goes away. Cool. So yeah, let me know if you guys want to see more of this. If you want me to actually show the calculations I've been using to try to figure out these numbers, I'm more than happy to show it. If you guys don't want to see it, I understand perfectly. But this is how I usually play SimCity 3000. It's a very, very logical base game for me. But anyways, so yeah, we don't need any more industry. We don't need any more commercial. We need a lot of residential. And real quick, let's quickly go through all the stuff. We're at 713 on our oil power plant, which is great. 2% on landfill usage, which is still very, very good. And we're at 1,149 on our water. Everything's looking good. So yeah, let's go ahead and continue. We don't really need to expand. We don't need more industry. We don't need more commercial, and we're still developing residential. So now we just get to sit back and relax as our city slowly develops. And listen to some amazing SimCity 3000 jazz music. The music in this game has always captivated me, and I've always loved it. And that should be, nope, we got one more row. Now the only problem about doing this is once we decide to upgrade this area to medium or dense, we have to go through all of these and tell them to no longer be historical so we can get rid of them. That's the only bad thing about doing this. But yeah, I've kind of gotten used to it. So it doesn't really bother me anymore. There we go. Boo, 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 boo. Go. Thing is looking good. Oh, things are developing over here. I expect this residential to develop very quickly. Develop at the speed of light. Now, I do know there's a formula in the game where over time, the demand for industry would reduce and demand for commercial will increase. I don't remember when those figures are, so I'll need to figure that out between episodes. But I do know it's like 2 to 3%. So like the next tier, or next trigger would be 68% industry and 12% commercial. And then it would be 15% commercial, 65% industry, and eventually they slowly cross over. so on and so forth. But I don't remember when the actual formulas like start doing that. I guess we'll figure that out when our city gets bigger. Because eventually we'll like do our formulas and they'll be like, oh, this no longer works, so it must be this now. Boop, 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 boop. Good. And good. Alright. Speed it up a little bit. Get a little bit more development going. Now the last 10% is supposed to be jobs for like the power plant and like health area and like all that stuff. Alright, is that... Well, that area is completely done. Nice! So yeah, now we're waiting for both of these to develop. Which might be a little bit difficult for it. Oh, got a couple pop up over here. Alright, and the rest of the commercial area is being developed. So far it looks like we're doing pretty good. We now have 3,128 residents, not bad, and residential is still our primary demand. Fantastic. We still have a lot of residential here to develop, so this should probably be about 3,500 once it gets all developed. Nice. Alright, time to do our monthly checks. Let's see, income. We are looking very good. Now the first expenditure I always do is public health, because that will help keep people happy, and it'll help keep the workflow looking pretty good, and make it to where people aren't like the population isn't all like young people, which means it'll flood your schools and everything. So I tend to focus on healthcare, and then I'll build a school, and then I'll usually build like the special schools like library and museum, and then eventually the college, and then police, and then fire. It's usually how I do. Usually how I go with this game. But let's check our data. We have 0% unemployment. Again, I think this updates, like, I don't think this actually updates properly. I think this updates like the month before than the actual current month. Because we shouldn't have a 0% unemployment anymore. But we can check that real quick. So for industry, say 1,228. We gotta time this by 0.462. We should be 1,445. And we're 1,558. So we have more industry than people we need to work in the industry areas. And now for commercial. 206, we're 270. So yeah, we shouldn't really have an unemployment problem. We have too many job openings for the amount that we need to cover them. So we should be perfectly fine. We need more residential. Is our current demands. Once this gets done, we may have to expand our residential out a little bit, but we still have a lot developing here. That being said, let's check our rounds real quick. We're at 788 on oil. We're almost at 10%. Water's at 1,246 or 1,236, so water is doing pretty well. Doing pretty well indeed. And garbage, I think, just went up to like 2%. So still doing fantastic on garbage. Now, I may make it to where, I think it's, yeah, bus stops. Bus stops don't come a thing until like 1919 or something. I might change it to where it's like 1910. So we can use bus stops early. Because I think we're still doing pretty good on traffic just because of the fact our town is very tiny. But once this town gets pretty big, traffic is going to definitely start becoming a problem. I don't think right now there's any major traffic problems. It's just all light right now. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. We don't really need to expand. Don't have a demand for commercial, don't have a demand for industry, just a demand for residential. So we'll let the game continue doing things. I don't know if we're gonna make 5,000 population this episode, but we should make 4,000. No schools in Merlopolis, or Merlopatia. Sensei Mayor has a lot to learn. Well, we can't afford schools, I'm sorry about that. I mean, we can, but I want to get a good amount of cash flow before we actually start getting schools. Like, I want to get up to 5,000 and start getting neighbor deals going first. Then we can start figuring out if we want schools and hospitals and all that. Boop, boop. And I don't think we actually have anything to expand on. There's some industry zones that are developing that I need to make historical. Boop, boop. Oop. Thought I misclicked. Alright. Cool. We are looking good in the neighborhood. Got a few more industries. We'll be good to go. There we go. One more industry after this one. Ooh, and pretty much all the residential has been developed. Fantastic. Here we go. Still didn't get the last one here. We're 3,565 population, which is about what I expected. Fantastic. And again, we have a decent industry demand and a decent residential demand. Commercial is still very, very low. Looking pretty good. We're at 498 our end of year expected cash flow. We're at 111 right now. Not bad, not bad at all. Income majority is residential right now, but a decent amount is industry. Looking good. Looking really good. Let's check our stuff. Our oil power plant is officially over 10% of its capacity. Again, nothing really to worry about, but we are making progress. Let's see, our pumping station's 1,200. So it's getting close to 20%. But again, most of that is still from the oil power plant because they do require a lot of water. And I made that change on purpose. So power plants actually require a lot of water to run properly. And part of that is just because I changed all the capacities on the water systems, which I still haven't changed the water tower. The water tower is supposed to be 1,500. I think it's still set to 500. So I need to go into the coding and change that. Anyways, let's do our data real quick. See how we're doing. So we're at 3,565 residential. You multiply that by 0. Let's see, is it 462 still? Yeah, it's still 66%. Okay, 462. We need 1,647 industry. We are just there, 1,672, so we are on target. Fantastic. How is commercial looking? 235 or 342, so commercial is fine for a while. Okay, cool. We're at unemployment 4 at the moment, but everything is looking good. We can expand industry if we want to. We're kind of just at the goal right now, but residential is still our main demand. Industry is actually still expanding a little bit over here because we don't have this entire area developed yet. So let's focus primarily on residential then. Boop, 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 boop. So let's go to about here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's go to about there. It's gonna be more road maintenance we have to worry about, but it shouldn't be anything too drastic. 480 for the residential cost. Let's go ahead and hook those up. There we go. All right. Looking pretty good in the neighborhood. I don't think there's anything else we really need to do. We got water, we got power. We're not expanding commercial or industry, partially because industry is still expanding and commercial, we have too many commercial jobs at the moment anyways. So let's continue. Do 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 do. And we just have this one little industry spot right there that I wish we'll develop. Please develop. Please develop. I want you to develop. We have all the commercial area that's available this round not developed, but not the one industry area. Oh, there it goes. Of course, all I had to do was just not look at it. That's how everything works. Like, you try to explain to your buddy how something works that you've done 1,000 times, and then the day you explain it to your buddy, it just never works the way you want it to. He's like, I swear I know how this works. I've done it literally 1,000 times. And then it just, yeah. Life is really weird like that sometimes. Life can be very strange and bizarre. Very strange and bizarre indeed. Alright, so that area is all good to go. And then we'll have a slight amount of residential here. So that brought us up to 3,680. Nice. How are we doing here? We have an unemployment level of 7, which sounds awfully high. Let's see where we're at right now. So 3,680, multiply that by, yep, still 66%. So for industry, that would be 46.2%. Oops. 0.462. Be 1,700. We're at like 1,080. Yeah, I don't think the unemployment updates every month. I think it takes a month for it to actually go through. So this is last month's unemployment, which honestly makes sense because that's how unemployment works in real life. So this number right here represents last month's unemployment. Okay. Cool. Good to know. 1,700 is where we're supposed to be at. We're at 1,800, so we're good to go. Yeah, 1,805. It is quite difficult to see sometimes. And then for commercial, we are at, let's see, demand for commercial should be 242 or 360. So yeah, I don't know why we have 7% unemployment. So I'm assuming that's just last month's data. because we should be perfectly fine right now. We do have like an even demand of industry and residential, so which is where you're kind of supposed to be. Because if residential demand is too high, that means there's too many jobs. If industry demand is too high, that means there's too much unemployment. So yeah, we're about exactly where we're supposed to be right now. Fantastic. And we're not going to expand, because again, industry is still expanding. All of industry hasn't actually fully developed. We do still have a couple of notches in commercial to develop, and we're actually a little bit too high when it comes to the amount of jobs we need for commercial, so we're fine there. So let's go ahead and let the game run and let industry develop. And we'll go through, make all of them historical. Also, for those of you that are curious why I have sound effects off, it's because of this reason right here. The construction noises and the door ringings whenever you constantly click on the buildings like this will get quite annoying. So I have it turned off for that reason. But the sound effects do work perfectly fine in the game. Burp, burp, burp. Burp, burp, burp. And this is pretty much how the series is going to be, so we might as well just keep it like that. Boop, 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 boop. A lot of industry or residential is developing. And we'll probably end this episode at the end of this month. Because this should definitely boost us up to 4,000. I don't know if it's going to boost us all the way up to 5,000. It might. We will see. But for the time being, we should definitely get 4,000 by the end of this month. Burp, burp, burp. Burp, 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 burp. Burp, 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 burp. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop. And boop. Alright. Now we just have that middle area there to develop. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. So much development going on. Do 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 do. Is this middle area not actually going to develop? I guess it's not developed this round. Alright. Cool. Oh, now it develops on the very last day. Of course. Okay, so we have 4,232 population. We are getting there. Let's do our checks real quick. We're at 940 on the power plant, so yeah, the power demand is starting to get there. It's still extremely low compared to its capacity, and our water pump is at 1,300. Not bad, not bad. Alright, and garbage is 2%, which is perfectly fine. Okay, budget-wise, we are making it 708 by the end of the year. We are using 162 on roads, so we're 546 estimated cash flow at the end of the year. Fantastic. Once we get to 5,000 and we're able to start doing neighborhood deals, we'll get a couple of those going and see how much income we generate from that. And then we'll start getting education and healthcare going. But for the time being, that's just not going to be a thing. We're starting to get a decent amount of traffic over here on this left side of the city, so we do have to keep an eye on that. It says light right now, but it definitely looks like there's a decent amount of traffic going on. Anyways, let's quickly check to see our unemployment stuff, because according to our demands, we have a pretty high industry demand compared to our residential demand, but also we did kind of like rapidly regrow our residential. So let's see where we currently are. Are we still at 66%? Yes, so our workforce is still 66%. So this would be 1,232 times 0.426462. So we need 1,955 industry to satisfy our population. We are 1,881, so that explains the high industrial demand. We need about 150 more industry to satisfy our population. And for commercial, let's see, 4,232 times 0.066. 279, and we have 414. So commercial is perfectly fine. We actually have too much commercial going on right now. And we need a lot more industry. So that's where we are. In the next episode, I think we have a large residential expansion going on right now. So we need to expand more industry to compensate for it. So we'll probably like expand out here or something. And then the next episode, we should break 5,000 population, which will allow us to start establishing neighborhood deals. Now, again, I have changed neighbor deals to be a lot generate a lot less income than they did originally and require a lot less stuff for the city. So basically, I kind of like set it to where it should equal about a quarter to a third of your actual demand. For your city, for your own city, where before it was like 2, 3, 4 times. It was a ridiculous amount. Like I never did power plant deals or water deals because the demand for it was just way too high for what the neighbor wanted to pay for. So that's definitely been changed. Like in my own playthrough, my own city, I had like a city of like 40,000 or like 30,000 population, and I could still run my city and a neighborhood deal of a power deal still using the same power plant. So yeah, it's a lot more balanced. It's a lot better. So if you really want to like capitalize on neighborhood deals, you can like connect to all 4 of the cities that surround your main city and get deals going around like that if you really, really wanted to. It's definitely something you could do if you really want to generate a lot of income. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Our city is still slowly growing. We're 4,232 population, and hopefully in the next episode we can get that up to like 6,000 or 7,000 and just continue growing the city and like playing around with the mod that I designed for this game. So yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying this. If you did, please leave a like. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. If you want to see more of me, I do have the link to my main channel in the video description if you guys want to check out. The main channel, I focus on space and strategy games, where this channel, I focus on like basically RPGs, simulations, and basically anything else I think would be really cool. I'm hoping to have a multiplayer series on this channel soon, which would be awesome. I've gotten together with some groups of friends, and we're hopefully trying to find a day where we can all like record something together, and it will be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, until next time, this is Captain Soban signing out.